Listen Up Audiobooks presents The Man from Muscle Shoals, My Journey from Shame to Fame, written by Rick Hall, narrated by Jeremy Arthur and Rick Hall. Dedication. To the love of my life, Linda K. Hall, and our three sons, Gregory Rick Hall, Marcus Anthony Hall, and Rodney Rowe Hall, for all the sacrifices you made for me to pursue my dreams. I will always love you all. Acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge Terry Pace for all of his precious time and dedication while actually traveling with me to all of the sites of my early life where we relived most of the tragedies and joys that took place. Preface. Dr. Sherman Smith, publisher. I was invited to visit Fame Studios for the first time after Rick Hall and I had agreed that I would publish this book. I was already in awe of his accomplishments in the music world, but little did I know the sanctimonious feeling I would have the moment I actually walked into the hallowed halls of Fame Studios. There was an electricity that I felt flowing through me, and I realized almost instantly, as I looked at Paul Anka's platinum album on the wall, that I was in a place like none other in the world. Rick gave me a personal tour, and I was overwhelmed with the surreal reality that those megastars that I had grown up listening to cut those songs under the tutorship of legendary Rick Hall. On a Sunday afternoon after church, Linda Hall chauffeured us in their black Lexus, and we traveled almost 300 miles visiting the communities around Muscle Shoals where Rick grew up as a boy. I was raised in the mountains of Kentucky, and I have seen poor people, but I don't believe I've ever witnessed an upbringing poorer than Rick's. We visited all the homesteads and the place where the sawmill shack was built. Rick stood on a little bridge over a creek and stared at the water where he was baptized as a boy only 13 years old. We visited the place where his wife was tragically killed in a car accident, and the cemeteries where Rick's family are buried. Rick told of his loneliness as a boy, and the longing he had for his mother. Walking through Rick's mansion on his 1,600-acre cattle ranch was the exclamation mark on a life filled with tragedy to a myriad of successes too vast to comprehend. More than 300 gold and platinum albums hang on the walls of Fame Studios. The most famous singers, songwriters, and musicians in the world got their start under the genius productions of Rick Hall. I am privileged to be a part of this great story, and the life of a great man, who is my friend. Forward. Peter Guralnick. When Rick first told me about his book, I don't know how many years ago this was now, a lot. He said he wanted it to be raw, something like a cross between Tobacco Road and Harry Cruz. I don't have any record of my response. This was a pre-email conversation. But I'm sure it was along the lines of, yeah, because everybody always says they want to tell the true story. But then, when it comes down to it, they are inhibited by, politeness, concern for image or reputation, or just continuing survival in the world in which they have made their reputation and continue to do business. But Rick, as I soon found out, really meant it. He sent me the first part of his book, and it was as real and as raw as either of his two-sided inspirations. Together with Terry Pace, he had revisited the actual scenes of his childhood. Not just scenes of triumph or humiliation, he had sought out the sources of his inspiration, and contemplating them, often just sitting by the side of the road, succeeded in translating the pain of his experience into art. I don't know why I should have been surprised. I'd known Rick for almost 25 years at this point, and I was well aware of his proclivity for commitment tests. Rick sets tasks to be performed, goals to be achieved, and when you have achieved them, he says, you can do better. So why wouldn't he make the same demands of himself? As the book has progressed over the years, it has just gotten better and better, and Rick's dedication to the process, not merely the result, is something with which any true writer should be able to identify. But what I come back to in the end, what I come back to every time, are those childhood
Sample complete. Ready to continue?